fifthly, verse 7, it says this in 3:7, so the children of Israel, and here's the start of the cycle, and I will take you through the cycle if you want to see it. 3:7, so the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord. They forgot the Lord their God, and they served the Baals, and now they're not just serving the Baals, they're serving the Asherahs. And the Asherahs were the most gross, immoral of all of those pagan deities. They built groves and put trees around them and made thick hedges so no one could see what they were doing inside of that confine. And that's why the Bible calls it going a-whoring after the Asherahs. And that's because that's literally what they did. It was whoredom. It was gross immorality. What happens there? They abandoned the exclusiveness of God by following other gods. You see, we all have a God, and we look more like who or whatever it is every day. And that's why some people, their God is materialism, and so they just look more materialistic every day. And other people, their God is hedonism. They're the ones that keep all the thrill-seeking events alive because they've got to find more pleasure, and they just need higher thrills of adventure. And other people are just so selfish, and they're just like a clothes horse, and they have their God of themselves, but there is an abandonment of the exclusiveness of God. These people said, what they're saying is, they didn't need God anymore. They abandoned Him. They said, boy, we got a good deal going here with Baal and Asherah, and we're going to serve them. And that's what they did. And they abandoned God. This direction taken by Israel is known as syncretism. It's the blending together of various religions, and the idols of the pagans that they were worshiping were actually demons. Now here are 3 verses you should write down, because you might be confronted with this, with religious syncretion. In other words, of saying, hey, let's not get down on the Buddhists, they do their thing, or let's not get down on the Mormons, they're doing their thing. Well, you know what? Anything other than genuine biblical Christianity is demonic. Did you know that? Let me share with you. First verse, Leviticus 17:7. They should no more offer sacrifices unto devils, after whom they have gone a-whoring. This shall be a statute forever. What's he talking about? Well, Leviticus is talking about going to other shrines of other gods. And either it's the true God or it's a false God. And even though Satan has many, many faces, they're all Satan unless it's the true God. And so that means that the sweet, gentle, Eastern religion person that wouldn't hurt a flea, that is all for everything proper and moral, that bows down in front of their little shrine, is bowing before Satan by way of his demons. Here's another verse, Deuteronomy 32:7. They sacrificed to demons and not to God, to gods whom they knew not, to new gods that came newly up, whom your fathers feared not. God says, you sacrifice to anyone but me, you're sacrificing to demons. Here's what it says in 1 Corinthians 10:19 and 20. Paul, what say I then? That the idol is anything? Or that which is offered to the sacrifice of idols is anything? What he's saying is, those idols aren't real. But listen to what he continues. But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils and not to God. I would that you should not have fellowship with devils. We must not abandon God and compromise. In our day, it takes the form of ecumenical interfaith ministry where doctrine is diluted or abandoned so that no one is offended but God. Do you ever think about that? You get the lowest common denominator. The only person who will get offended is God. The next element, number 6, they hardened their hearts. And that is what their consciences became. They had lived so long with defiled minds, sin no longer pained them. Look at chapter 17 of Judges in verse 6. It says this, in those days there was no king in Israel, and everyone did what was right in their own eyes. I mean, they didn't need God. Nothing bothered them. Nothing pained them at all anymore. Letter G, they departed from their true king and ruler, the Lord. And defeat always lies before those who do what is right in their own eyes. Well, point 3, remaining in disobedience reaps destruction. Continuing in ungodliness results in a life of destruction, declension, defilement, and darkness, and finally despair. There are 2 horrible illustrations of this, and I mentioned that already. In chapter 17 and 18, there is idolatry. They mix the true worship of God with idols. And then the last 3 chapters, there's immorality.